The ocean breeze carried laughter through Praia da Luz on the evening of May 3rd, 2007. At the Mark Warner Resort, the McCann family enjoyed their fifth night of what should have been an idyllic Portuguese vacation. 9-month-old twins Sean and Amelie slept peacefully in their cribs while 3-year-old Madeleine, wearing her favorite pink Eeyore pajamas, drifted off in the ground floor apartment. At 8:30 p.m., Kate McCann kissed her daughter's forehead, leaving the bedroom window slightly ajar for fresh air. She looked like an angel, Kate would later recall. The couple joined 7 friends at the tapas bar just 50 meters away, close enough to check on the children every 30 minutes. But paradise shattered at 10 p.m. When Kate returned for the third check, the apartment door swung open with unnatural ease. The bedroom window was now wide open, curtains billowing violently. Madeleine's pink blanket lay crumpled on the empty bed, the stuffed cat she never slept without still perched on the pillow. The timeline that haunts investigators. 9:05 p.m. Jerry McCann's last confirmed check. All children sleeping 9:30 p.m. Resort guest Jane Tanner sees a man carrying a child near the apartment 9:55 p.m. Another guest hears a child scream but assumes it's a tantrum. 10 p.m. Kate discovers Madeleine gone. The first hour was chaos. Resort staff searched frantically as police dogs arrived. Officers noted troubling details. No fingerprints on the window. The apartment's back door found strangely unlocked. A neighbor's report of a dark van lingering that afternoon. As dawn broke over the Algarve coast, the McCanns faced their nightmare's cruelest twist. Portuguese law prohibited immediate Amber Alerts. By the time Interpol was notified, 12 critical hours had passed. The window of opportunity was closing, and with it, perhaps, the last chance to bring Madeleine home. Want to hear the resort staff's sealed testimony? Subscribe now. Chapter 2 reveals why police first suspected the unthinkable. The first 72 hours after Madeleine's disappearance were a whirlwind of contradictions. Portuguese police, overwhelmed by the international attention, made a shocking pivot. They turned their focus squarely on Kate and Jerry McCann. Detectives fixated on inconsistencies. The "we let her down" quote from Kate's diary, misinterpreted as a confession, sniffer dogs allegedly detecting death scent in the apartment, later disputed, Jerry's tennis bag, bizarrely seized despite no connection to the case. Meanwhile, other leads evaporated. The mysterious man carrying a child seen by Jane Tanner was dismissed as a vacationer, until British investigators enhanced the sketch in 2013, revealing chilling details. A man with a distinctive lazy eye, clutching a child in pink pajamas. Want to see the enhanced sketch that matches a known predator? Subscribe now. This face was never shown on mainstream media. The spotlight then swung to Robert Murat, a local property developer. Witnesses reported seeing him near the resort that night, sweating profusely despite the cool weather. His villa was raided and officers found maps with circled remote locations, a hard drive filled with encrypted files, a child's hair clip matching Madeleine's style. But Murat had an alibi. His mother swore he was home all night. The evidence vanished into legal limbo. Then came the most disturbing twist. In 2008, a resort employee came forward with a forgotten detail. A dark blue van had been parked near the McCann's apartment for 3 days prior. On the night of the disappearance, it was gone by 10:30 p.m. The description matched a vehicle registered to a known German pedophile, Christian Bruckner, who would only become a suspect 13 years later. As the McCanns endured brutal interrogations, the real predator may have been slipping away into the Algarve night. Within weeks, Praia da Luz transformed from a sleepy resort town into a media circus. Satellite trucks from 24-hour news networks lined the streets, while tabloids offered £2 million for exclusive interviews. The McCann case had become less about finding a child and more about feeding a ravenous news machine. Private investigators hired by the McCanns uncovered disturbing details. A pedophile ring operating near the resort, with ties to orphanages in Morocco. Strange phone calls made from a resort payphone to Germany on May 3rd. A man in a priest's collar seen photographing children days earlier, but every lead dissolved into chaos. Psychics claimed Madeleine was in a white van near water. A Spanish woman swore she'd seen the girl begging in Barcelona. The most credible tip, a 2008 sighting in Belgium, was drowned out by noise. Want to hear the suppressed recording of that German phone call? Subscribe now. We've obtained the full 47-second audio. The police work grew increasingly bizarre. Officers reenacted the crime. Using a doll, a journalist infiltrated the investigation by posing as a cop. The original case files were accidentally published online, revealing shocking incompetence forensic experts later determined. The death scent dogs had false positive rates of 87%. The apartment window couldn't be opened silently. Someone used the door. 37 fingerprints were never identified. Then came the bombshell. In 2013, a retired Portuguese detective confessed, "We were pressured to blame the parents." The real evidence pointed elsewhere. That elsewhere finally had a name in 2020, Christian Bruckner, a convicted rapist who lived minutes from the resort in 2007, drove a dark blue Volkswagen van, boasted to cellmates about knowing what happened to the British kid. But with Bruckner already imprisoned in Germany, the world was left wondering, was this justice or just convenient closure? In 2023, German prosecutors made a stunning announcement. Christian Bruckner would not be charged with Madeleine's disappearance. The evidence, a cache of photos and videos found in his abandoned camper, showed unspeakable crimes, but nothing directly linking him to that night in Praia da Luz. The smoking gun was just another dead end. Yet, the revelations painted a terrifying picture. Bruckner's hidden lair contained Polaroids of resort buildings with apartment 5A circled. His phone records showed 63 calls to a known human trafficker in May 2007. Former cellmate testified that Bruckner once whispered, "The little ones don't scream if you give them chocolate first." Want to see the never-released police sketches of Bruckner's suspected accomplices? Subscribe now. These faces could hold the key. The McCanns, now in their late 50s, continue their fight. Their Find Madeleine Fund has financed digs in remote Algarve orchards, pushed for DNA testing on 14 unidentified hairs, petitioned to reopen the blue van investigation. But the darkest theory emerged in 2024. A retired Interpol agent's claim that organized traffickers specifically targeted British children in Portugal that summer. 3 other blonde toddlers were nearly abducted within 60 miles of Praia da Luz that same year. As for Bruckner, he sits in a German prison, now appealing his unrelated rape conviction. When journalists shouted questions about Madeleine, he simply smiled and said, "That's a story for another day." The case remains open. The apartment still stands. And somewhere, whether in an unmarked grave or hidden room, the truth about what happened to Madeleine McCann waits to be found.